Sunday, the end of week 20. Let's look at all of the action across the NBA. Blowouts, lineup nonsense, you know what's going on. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and we got London on the track. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your jobs for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. I got some double bangers in here. I'm sure I do. Thanks for the thumbs up and thanks for the subscribe. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. We are approaching 75k. We want 100k, but we get there slowly. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for double banging. Thank you for leaving your comments down below. We're talking Sunday. It is the end of week 20 in the NBA. We have got 4 full weeks left across the NBA regular season. Hopefully you don't have 4 weeks left in your fantasy season. If you are in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, next week is the Battle Royale. I have explained how this works in the past. I've sent an email about it, but I'll do it here now as well. It is there were 60 individual leagues for the category leagues. And we had the playoffs in all of those. And at the moment, there are 2 teams left in each of those individual 60 divisions. Now, each of those teams that won today, congratulations, you move into a final Battle Royale week. Now, everyone who makes it through this week gets paid, so you get paid out. I think it's $200 you get. I have to double check that. You get paid out, but you go into a big Battle Royale week where it is you versus the other 119 opponents simultaneously during the week. And at the end of the week, we see who has the best record. The best you can do is 119-0. It's not each categories. It's like a playoff matchup. You just got to win 5-4. So if I beat you, I go 1-0. If I lose to Jono over there, I'm 1-1. If I then go beat Michael Bolton, I'm 2-1. But you do that against 119 opponents. You can't make any waiver ads. Yeah? Can't make any waiver ads. You can drop guys to activate players off IR. For the points league, we had 30 divisions. So there's 60 players who all go into that final week. And then basically it's the same thing. You've got the 40 games max. You can still drop players without adding any. But who gets the most fantasy points for the entire week wins the grand prize. This is going to take me quite a while to set up tonight after the games are over. So just be aware that that will come and then you'll get an email detailing that you're in and the information about it. Cool? We got that? Good. What are we looking at here? I don't remember if I've hit this stinger, but it's a recap for Sunday's action. March the 17th, there were 7 games on. Let's cover a little bit of news first. Anthony Davis's corneal abrasion has him listed questionable for tomorrow. It looks like he's trending towards playing. Jerami Grant's not, though. He's doubtful again with a hamstring strain. I wonder how many games he's going to miss here. Like I talked about earlier today, I think he's missed he's played 2 out of his last 9. This is the standard procedure for Jez. I don't think he's done for the year, but I think it's going to be spotty availability, and honestly, he's not good enough to hold. Lauri Markkanen, though, we've got an update. He's questionable. Clarkson's out again. Does his questionable tag, is this just to satisfy the NBA? This happened last year as well with Markkanen. He will come back, he might play 1 or 2, then he'll be out again. So watch that. I think he might play maybe 1 or 2 this week, and then the problem re-arises or something. Just be cautious of it. It is too early to sit him down for the whole year. It's the same playbook as last season. So maybe he plays 3 games this week and then he's done. That's possible. Kobe White is doubtful, so he's not going to play. Alex Caruso is questionable and Don Mitchell is out. And I would guess that Mitchell is out for more than just this one game. I don't know that for sure, but it does feel like the way that he was talking, it feels like Donnie's going to miss a little bit of time here. We've got zero updates on Max Strus, apart from that we know that he's out. So Okoro, Levert, Slam and Sammy Merrill, possibilities to stream in there. And Boston's going to have opportunities, I'm guessing, on Monday. Horford will be out. Porzingis might be out. Holiday might be out. Tatum, I don't know. I don't know if Hauser's going to play. We'll talk about that later. They're a little bit up in the air, the old Boston Celtics. Which is, again, not a surprise given where they are currently in the standings. Let's go to the games. First one. Early one. Phoenix, Milwaukee. Out of nowhere, Giannis sat this one out. He was resting. I know he's been banged up a lot, but just a little bit galling for that to just come out of nowhere. I actually have no problem with teams managing their players correctly. It doesn't bother me. It's just, wish I had sort of known about it. But with Giannis out and then they don't play again, they barely play this week. They're a really bad schedule. That hurts, obviously, for fantasy. But it's best for his health and their playoff chances. But what we did get amazingly was James Christian Middleton returned a month later after an undiagnosed ankle sprain. So he moved into the starting lineup for Yanni. Malik Beasley missed the last game, so he moved back into his spot, while Pat Beverly moved back to the bench. The Bucks get it done easily. Pretty disappointing from the Suns, honestly, with no Giannis to get beaten comfortably 140-129. The final score in this one. Let's talk Phoenix. I don't know why people get so bent out of shape about me talking about Kevin Durant. Like the bloke left a comment, man, how dare you say Durant has been disappointing when you don't even mention that Halliburton sucked. Durant can be disappointing of late, and Halliburton can suck. I don't need to have mentioned that. You don't need to have mentioned every single play. If I'm going to say that Durant's been a little bit off over the last 3 weeks, I don't have to mention the other 50 players who have been off. We could just go and talk that Durant, again, was somewhat disappointing. He played 41 minutes, 11 points on 10 shots, 40% shooting. That's not Durant. That's not what he normally is. The 3 steals and 2 blocks are awesome. The 9 rebounds are great. He's not killing you. He's just not where he was. And that's been a persistent thing for 3 or 4 weeks now. Booker had 23, 9, and 6. Pretty good. Well, Brad Beal, after a disgusting start to the season, Beal's the 22nd ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's 72nd from the season. You probably drafted him around 60, and it was terrible. And now, somehow, he's delivering. I don't know how it's happening. Grayson Allen, 25, 3, and 8 with 6 dribbles. What a absolute waiver-wise steal this bloke has been. Unbelievable. I did not see this at all. He's been unbelievable. And then Royce O'Neal, we can jack him off.
Get that garbage out of here!
16 points for him is solid, but four threes. I say jack. Like, he had a good game. Like, I'm looking and go, what am I talking about? No, he's a definite jack. 26 minutes is fine, but now that everyone's healthy, you can't rely upon O'Neal to be consistent. He had no defensive stats. He shot okay, like 50% is pretty good, but this is just a stream level guy. Well, Eric Gordon had 10 in his 22 minutes, and old mate Bol played 5. Can't ever rely on Bol. It's never going to happen. Unless something absolutely crazy happens and he finds himself in a Portland, Utah, Washington scenario where they say, hey, we're trying to lose. Can you play as many minutes as possible? That's the only way that's going to happen. For the Bucks, Lillard. Without Giannis, Lillard goes off. 31, 5, and 16. 4 triples, 53%, 7 to 7 from the line. Again, a lot of hand-wringing about this man. 8th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. Coming good at the right time. Yeah, bit disappointing if you took him about 10 or 11. He's 20th now. But how do we, again, I still don't know the answer. How do we judge it? When we look back at the year and say Lillard was the 19th ranked player and he was picked at 11th, what a bust. There'll be people who think that. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But then if he delivers you top 10 numbers in the playoffs, was it? I don't know. Bob Portis went crazy. 30 minutes for the big fella. 31 and 10 with 5 threes and 3 steals. Yet, I still don't think that necessarily makes him a must roster. Bad schedule. Giannis was out. He's inconsistent. We know this. And Brook Lopez, man, they went really small here. 18 minutes for Brook. 10 and 7 with 2 triples. Now, his last game was really strong. But it's been a 6-week run from Brook being quite poor. And with a bad schedule, with this sort of stuff possible, it's hard to justify it. Chrissy Middleton went crazy as well. 22, 3, and 7. 53% shooting. 15 shot attempts, 32 usage. Obviously, with Giannis out, he was able to just take more shots. It's good that he's back, but he's going to be pretty limited in minutes. Or Jay Crowder had 18, 3 steals, 32 minutes. Ignore it. Best game he's had in 5 years. You think you can ignore most of that. Leaky Beasley did his thing, 17 points with 5 dribbles. That is what the Leakster does. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. when you're going and hiring for a small business, well, LinkedIn Jobs is the ones that you want to look at because they find the professionals that are right for your role. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find those right professionals for your team faster and for free. Hiring staff can be a nightmare. What if you hire someone and they're bad and they just don't fit what you need, and there they are, and then you've got to go through disciplinary procedures, training procedures. One of the biggest costs in business is staff. And one of the other biggest costs that doesn't get discussed is having bad staff, and then all the stuff you need to go through with getting either new staff in to replace them or train those old staff or all that stuff. It's a nightmare. Just get the right people first, go. That's where LinkedIn comes in. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So 86% of small businesses said, hey, we got someone really good, someone that fit what we needed in the first 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Hopefully when you're doing the hiring, you're not speaking like that. Hey, get in here for your interview, mate. Don't think that would go too well, unless, I don't know what sort of business that would work in. I'm sure there's some. That doesn't matter. That's beside the point because we're talking the NBA. We had the next one, which was a rematch of Friday's action between the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons. Jimmy Butler was out. Nikola Jovic was out. So Jaime Jaquez, the hottest 100, he started. And Haywood Highsmith came out of hibernation to jump in there for Little Chungus Nikola Jovic. The Pistons had the same lineup. The Heat win it barely. 104-101 is your final score here. As we've seen through a big period of time, when Hero's out, Duncan Robinson's good. 30 points, 7 dribbles, 5 assists, 35 minutes. Hero's out for at least this week, maybe next week. Robinson's a must-roster player. Really good schedule for Miami as well. Triple J played 35 minutes. He had 15, 3, and 4 with a triple one. Good for him. But as usual, or not as usual, because the first 2 months this wasn't the case, or first 6 weeks, he can't shoot. And this is always why I was down on him. This is always why I seemed like I was just being a dickhead to begin the season. I said I don't really buy this guy because he has no history of being a good shooter. And it's because he's not a good shooter. But when Butler is out, the minutes push up and he serves his role as a solid role player. That is not a must roster for fantasy at all. But if Butler's out, we use him. Highsmith, yep, cool. 3 points, 17%. You can forget about that entirely. And Caleb Martin didn't start. I thought Caleb would with Jovic out, but he still was good. 10 and 7, steal, block, 2 triples. Didn't shoot well. He's been playing a little bit better. He's at least streamable. Like I would have Robinson, then Caleb, and then Jaime after that in terms of order of priority of those blokes. Adebayo had 20 and 17. Rozier 17, 6 and 9, and continues to be very disappointing. And also, he and Kelly Oubre, Rozier and Oubre, have been the absolute poster child descriptors of what happens when you play for trash versus what happens when you go to a better team. How do those numbers translate? The answer is they don't. They just don't. Now, again, Rozier had 17, 6 and 9, not bad. But he's been bad in Miami compared to Charlotte. Oubre's been terrible in Philadelphia compared to what he did in Charlotte. So we've always got to be cautious of that. Like, what happens to Miles Bridges if he leaves Charlotte next season and he finds himself on a good team? Will he have anywhere near the shot of doing what he's doing now? Probably not. Probably not. For the Pistons, what's going on with Tavares? Jaden Ivey played 24 minutes, 10 points, 2 assists, shot 57%, which is a bit of an anomaly, but then went 1 of 2 from the line. Ivey continues to be an annoying category league player. 24 minutes only is annoying. He's 153rd over the last 2 weeks in categories in 33 minutes because he either lacks defense or he has bad field goals or he has bad free throws, sometimes all together. And this one was just low minutes with no rebounds or assists. That makes him not a must-roster player. In points leagues, yeah, I think you should. But in categories, he's not. That doesn't mean you have to drop him. That just means that if he's sitting on the wire, you have to go, man, what an idiot. Why did someone drop Ivy? You don't have to look at it that way. You go, okay, I can sort of understand why. This is why. And that meant that we got our daily dose of diseased scrotum. We also got to see Evan Fournier. He had 18 points in 31 minutes with 4 triples and 3 steals. Shot well, and I just don't care. I don't know why this happened. I don't know why we lent into Fournier. I don't know why Williams decided this was the move. And I don't care to find out, honestly. That sounds dismissive, but I just don't think it's going to matter. Although, Cade could sit. He's been listed with knee injury management the last couple of games. He's played through it, but it is a back-to-back. They go Monday. He had 17, 4 and 9, a steal and a block. Pretty strong stuff. Not great, but strong. He might sit tomorrow. I don't know. Fontecchio with the SAR out, another 35 minutes, 13 and 8, 2 triples, 2 blocks. Really good numbers as long as the SAR Thompson is out. And the man that just cannot do anything good, And that apologies to him, but he's bad. Isaiah Stewart, no matter what seems to happen, it's just the same stuff from him every game. 12 and 6, 36 minutes. He's not a 12-team league player. He's a streamable guy when the schedule suits, which I guess, to be fair, it does suit now. But, man, he does nothing. Bad game from Durant, 11 and 10 in 29 minutes. And by bad, like he'd been rolling as like a top 25 player. This was just not at that level. Just didn't shoot well. No gaudy counting stats. Like double-double is nice, but nothing else is super exciting there. And, yeah, not a lot else. 6 assists for Marcus Sasser, which I guess is cool. Nothing to get me massively interested, though. Let us talk about the next one. Denver. Dallas. In Dallas. What a cracker this was. Unbelievable finish to this game with Kyrie Irving getting the game winner, but there was a lineup change because Luka, after missing the one game with a hamstring injury, he returned, and that meant that Dante Exum moved back to the bench. To no one's surprise. But what about the game? Dallas wins at 107-105. We'll talk Denver first, and this is nothing to talk about. What do we talk about? Like, Maga Porter Jr. played 37 minutes. He had 20 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks. What a roller coaster season this has been for Porter. There was a stretch where he was like 130th every 2 weeks, and now he's 80th for the year, and he's rolling at top 60 the last 2 weeks. But that could just go away at any point. Jokic had 16, 11, and 7. Definitely not his best. The headmaster Jamal Murray had 23, 4, and 7. And KCP just continues to be a stream guy. 10 points, 2 threes, no steals, but 2 blocks. Not a points league rosterable guy in 12s. In categories, you know the thing. It's steals and it's threes usually. And Aaron Gordon didn't do much. 11, 8, and 4. But they're the same team every single game, basically. Kyrie hit a ridiculous game winner. Like, what do you do? As Denver, like Michael Malone said, he goes, what do you want us to do? Like, the bloke hits the most amazing left-handed running hook shot against good defense. Like, what do we do? Like, I'm not going to blame my guys. Fair enough. Like, sometimes stuff happens and you just go, fair enough. What can I do about that? That's basically what happened here. Kyrie, 24, 7, and 9, 3 steals, a block. Didn't shoot well, but that's amazing. And Doncic, first game back from a hamstring. Why wouldn't you play 40 minutes? 37, 9, and 3, 5 triples and 2 steals, and now begins the 2-game week. They play Tuesday, Thursday. Obviously, if your playoffs continue after this week, you can't drop Luka and Kyrie. But if your playoffs end this week, you do. On Thursday, after they play, they're dropped. Get your commissioner to change the can't cut list immediately. You don't want to be sitting in a spot where he has to wait and decide, and then you wait a day and you can't drop him and you can't activate somebody. Get that sorted now. If you're a commissioner, and you have a can't cut list, A, that's an L, just as a general rule, you should never have it. But B, get rid of it right now. If you're a commissioner, get rid of it. Dan Gafford. Thanks, Dan. Thank you. Because these are the mid games that I was like, okay, if you're going to play 20 minutes, I'm not sure that I'm interested. And then, of course, he goes out and goes, well, I'm actually going to block 7 shots a game, Josh. I'm not going to miss a shot for a month, and I'm going to average 17 and 13. And you're going to look like, honestly, one of the biggest idiots in the world. Cool. Thanks, Danny. 8 and 6 in 24 minutes for him, which is totally okay. Like, it's not... If he averaged 8 and 6 with a block, he's not a 12-team league player. But he won't. He'll be better than this. So he is, because he's getting these minutes. But they basically split him and Lively straight down the guts, with Kleber getting only power forward minutes. Lively had 14 and 8 with 2 blocks. He's streamable. But this is more realistic versus like Gafford rolling as like an unbelievable player. Which is, again, what happened. Just not something that's a realistic thing to continue. And honestly, what else? Like PJ Washington Jr.?
Get that garbage out of here.
4 points, 11 rebounds, 20% shooting. This is the PJ special. The thing here is that, like, he plays Tuesday, Thursday, 2-game week. It should be an easy drop. And it is. But do you hold for Tuesday, Thursday? I don't think you do. You can, but I don't think you need to. He's not good enough. But again, the games are happening at the start of the week. But then if you hold on to him, you get 2 games of mid from PJ. And then what do you get? 2 more games on between Friday and Sunday. I think I'd probably rather try to get 5 games out of that slot. And that involves not holding on to PJ. Timmy Hardaway went back to being trash. 1 point, 3 missed shots, 15 minutes. Now, there's been signs of Tim being unhappy since the preseason. Basically, well, the first thing that we heard Tim say media day was, they said, hey, what has Jason Kidd said to you about this roller season? His answer was, to paraphrase, I don't talk to the man. I don't even know him. Who, Jace? Who? I don't know him. We haven't spoken at all. And went, that's very weird. And my assumption was they're moving him on and Tim knows this. But no, to start the season, he was playing 30 minutes a night. He had a key role and he was really putting up good numbers. And now we're back to this where Tim is seemingly 100% checked out. So you can drop him, obviously. Exum had 8 points. Josh Green's going to be out 2 weeks, by the way. For anybody that has Josh Green rostered in any sort of format, I feel sorry for you because he's not going to be playing. Today's episode is also brought to you by Style Legends Stitch Fix. You know that instant confidence boost that you get when you put on some snazzy new outfits, when you're ready to go out and paint the town red, and you've got your little shirt that unbuttons down to your chest. You got your pants with the flared bottoms. Just trying to bring back a new style. Well, forget that, because Stitch Fix will give you clothes that actually look good and they're on style and on trend. You tell them your style preferences and they'll say, bro, no way. We'll give you something better. No, they won't. They'll follow your preferences, but they'll make it classy. They'll give you the size that you need. They'll put it within your budget constraints as well. They send you a box with 5 items of clothes. You unpack them. If you're a content creator, maybe you film them. And you go, unpacking my box from Stitch Fix. I can't speak anymore. Am I unpacking my box? Not quite now. But I'm talking about Stitch Fix as this ad goes off the rails. Style, perfect. Stylists giving you outfit recommendations. They know it a lot better than I do. So let them help you get a new wardrobe for the upcoming season. Hey, and if you don't like stuff, send it back. All shipping, returns, and exchanges, always free. They're not going to put any extra charge on that. Come on, mate. Stitch Fix knows what they're doing. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. Stitchfix.com/lockedon. Did you know that it's stitchfix.com/lockedon? Well, if you don't, you do now. Stitch Fix. Style. Get into it. Okay. Let us move on to the next one. It is the Toronto Raptors up against the Orlando Magic, as I just forget where I'm exactly at. Yes, the Toronto Raptors up against the Orlando Magic. All right, lineup changes. Did we have them? Yes, we didn't. My mistake of it. We did not. All right. But we did have the Magic winning 111-96. Let's talk about Toronto. Let's talk about the best thing that Grady Dick did all day, and that was organize a jersey swap with Anthony Black so they could hold their jerseys up next to each other, get in the right position so that the jerseys read Black Dick, and get that posted on all of the socials. W for those guys. But Grady is struggling. He played 27 minutes. He had just 10 points, did Dick. He hit 2 threes, but he was not able to pull down any boards. He only got 1 assist and he shot 36%. At the moment, there's a little bit of stage fright, it feels like, with Dick. He just can't fully embrace what he needs to do. And at the moment, while I could say for some of you, Dick would be soft as a hold, but for most of you, you can probably just put it away. Stream him in if things start to get better. But at the moment, I would say Dick is a flop. Gary Trent had 15 points in 31 minutes with 3 steals and a block. That's really good. While Bruce Brown, this is where we get a little bit annoying, isn't it? Because Brucey had been playing well, but he had 12 points in 23 minutes with 4 assists, and I'm not sure that's good enough. There's a lot of up and down there. Jonte Porter, what a weird center this man is. He scores really low, 4 points. He has terrible field goal percentage, but then he just racks up everything else. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, steal and a block. Not often you need the combination of, hey, I'm punting points and field goal percentage. Who gets center stats? But that's what Porter provides. And he's doing enough. Olynyk was good too, 11, 4, and 3. Ochai Agbaji, you'll be surprised to know he was bad. 9 and 7, while Quickly had 12, 7, and 5 on. Really bad shooting. The name I really want to watch here is Nigerian Olympic legend Jordan Wara. 25 minutes, 18 and 7, a block. Now, he shot 78% to get there, which is obviously not a real thing. But if this man gets 25 to, let's say 28 a night, he's a 12-team league player. How does he do it? Who was out today that would play? Well, it's Barrett, but I don't know whether he's coming back anytime soon. So how did Wara get 25 minutes? Well, it was Brown being pushed back a little bit. It was only 27 minutes of Dick. Freeman Liberty was out of the rotation. It's entirely possible that Wara finds himself getting 30 minutes a night at some point this season, and he will be a 12-team league guy. If I'm in deeper leagues, I'd consider him now. Otherwise, he's just a watch list guy. For the Magic, Franz Wagner, 22, 8, and 4. He was great. Banchero, 29, 6, and 5. Great. Big shooting as well. Very weird game from Suggs. 20 minutes only. He played the first 9 minutes and change of the first quarter. Never returned in the first half. Okay, what's happened here? Second half, he started the third quarter, as usual. He's the leading starting point guard. Played 11 minutes. Never returned. And that was it. I don't know what happened. 2 10-minute stints, basically. And then never played again. The line's fine. 10, 2, and 2, 2 threes and 2 steals. but very low minutes. Wendell Carter had a dud after some really strong games. He had 9 and 3. Find it hard to just fully trust what he's doing. Well, Gaz Harris had 7 and Cole Anthony had 6 points in 25. But they had this game under control, pretty easily and pretty early on. And I don't think the Suggs one's weird, but I'm not going to read a giant amount into it. Just a little bit strange, I think. The next one. What do I talk about with this? Boston and Washington. Because honestly, the stuff going down here is insane. Let's just have a look at what lineup changes were. Derek White was out, resting. Slam and Sammy Hauser moved into the starting lineup. Kyle Kuzma was out. Patty Baldwin started. Cool. All right. We're doing something. That wasn't it. Jaylen Brown was out for Boston. O'Shea Brissett moved into the starting lineup. And then, as a late scratch, Bilal Coulibaly was out. So Justin Champagny, the other Bubbles, he moved into the starting lineup. So let's look at this, because Boston wins at 130-104. They play again tomorrow, and I just have no idea who's going to play. I know who won't play. Horford won't play. Does Porzingis play? I assume Jaylen Brown and Derek White return, but does Drew Holiday sit? What about Tatum? Tatum made a point of saying, I'd love to play, especially on the road. Well, this one's at home. So what do? It's against Utah, who don't care. They're tanking as well, so I don't know. And then the guy that stepped up today was Slam and Sammy Hauser. He played only 23 minutes before an ankle injury ended his night. He had 30 points with 10 dribbles. He was going to break the record. He had 6 rebounds as well. He shot 77%. He was on fire. But now I don't think that he plays tomorrow. Peyton Pritchard. He didn't start, but he played 35 minutes. 14, 5, and 13. And Drew might sit tomorrow, making Pritchard useful. Or Drew and White both play and Pritchard does nothing. What happens if Horford and Porzingis are both out? Well, Cornette will get an opportunity. He had 14 and 6 with 2 blocks. We love that. But what if they go with Tillman instead of Cornette? That's possible too. Svi Mykhailiuk played 23 minutes. He had 9 points with 3 threes. Good. Will he play tomorrow? No idea. O'Shea Brissett started out of nowhere, 7 points in 29 minutes. But Brissett's had moments in the past. I don't think he's that good, but he's had moments in the past where if he started again, that you might get good numbers out of him. The Celtics are in this terrible situation for us as fantasy players where they've got this jam-packed schedule, a bunch of terrible teams, so guys are in and out all over the place. There's no consistency. There's no streaming for long periods of time. So, I think Pritchard could have value, but Holiday and White might play but tomorrow, meaning he's useless. What if Porzingis comes back? Then Cornette's value gets dropped considerably. I don't know. And the Wizards decided they were going to sit everyone as well. Kuzma, Avdia, Tyus Jones, Coulibaly, Shamet's still out, Bagley's out. Jordan Poole played 23 minutes. Didn't matter. He had 31, 2, and 4. Shot 63%. What a ridiculously big game in low minutes. Justin Champagny, 14 and 8, 2 steals and 2 threes. He has an opportunity, maybe, if they do sit a bunch of guys down the stretch. And the other guy I would watch is Patrick Baldwin. The Sandwich had 6, 7, and 4 with 2 threes and 2 blocks, old PBJ, on 18% shooting only. So you'll say that's not very good, and you're right, but he's not an 18% shooter. He's not a very good shooter. But let's say he has a 40% night, a 45% night. Then you're talking 13, 7, and 4, steal 2 blocks, 2 threes, 3 threes. It's awesome. He's got an ability to be a blocks, rebounds, threes, scoring player if he gets minutes. Just watch Patrick Baldwin. We were pretty excited that Rashawn Holmes returned from his toe injury. He played the back-to-back, and he served up absolute crud. 19 minutes, 8 and 4, and I fear, Rashawn, you might be done. He had that one game replacing Bagley and looked good. And old Rashawn is back. No, maybe not. Now, I guess the thing we could say here is that Bagley could still be out, and then Omoruyi, who was the backup, got hurt. Kuzma's not there. But they're just running Gill, anyone. Holmes is maybe just not good enough anymore to be this player that's taking on the center role and being this awesome fantasy option. I don't think he is anymore. Although, again, this team is going to be annoying. We're going to get games where John Davis plays 30 minutes and you're going to have to hold your nose and go, I know he sucks, but maybe someone puts up numbers. I think we're going to end up there. We got 24 minutes out of old 20,000 leagues under the sea legend Jules Bernard. 12 points, 42% shooting. Really, Jules Bernard? Seriously, Washington. I don't need that in my life. Next, we go into the battle of the black and white. The Nets, the Spurs, it goes to overtime. And the Nets lose. The Spurs win. Controversial that Cam Thomas was left on the bench for the final play of regulation. Kevin Ollie said after the game, yeah, my bad. Yeah, it was your bad. And I am known as someone who does not particularly enjoy the stylings of Cam Thomas. I am someone that you know doesn't think that Cam Thomas can be a key franchise face winning player as some Nets people do. But I also know that he's improved significantly over the last 6 weeks. He's become more stable as a player, more consistent as a player, and actually looks pretty strong. I still don't think that he's an all-star level player or a good player necessarily. Still has issues with ball hogging, which has reduced. And there's a little bit of the Kelly Oubre's on Charlotte about what's going on here. But he's been better, and under no circumstance should he not be on the court for the end of the game. He had 31, 3, and 5 with 2 steals here, Thomas. And this has been really, really strong, this run of games from him. It was not strong from Cam Johnson, though, who had 12 and 5 in 27 minutes. I am not certain that Cam Johnson's a must-roster player. If you're getting 27 off the bench only, you're prone to some shooting slumps out of nowhere this season. That's not enough to look at as a must-roster guy. Claxton had 11 and 14, solid enough. While Mikal Bridges, man, what the hell is this guy? There's something very drastically wrong here. Obviously, he's not a number one player, but he's not even being a number one player anymore. He can't even be a number 2 guy at this point. 31% shooting, 14, 7, and 5. This fall off has been horrible. It's been dreadful. I wonder where he's going to get drafted next year. Bad. He's been bad. Finney Smith had 4 steals and a block, played a ludicrous 38 minutes. We don't need to worry about him for fantasy. While Schroeder played 42. He had 19, 3, and 7, a steal and a block. Inefficient as always. He still is a quite poor permanent fantasy player, but there's just a lot going on that's giving him this extra run. Smith had the 2 steals and 4 assists, so you can stream those numbers in from him. Wemby played 36. He had 33, 15, and 7 with 7 blocks on 54% shooting. His last couple of games have been a bit down. That's why he's 5th over the last 2 weeks. Trey Jones, 11, 4, and 7 with 3 steals. We love. The horse had a big one. Yeah, of course he did. But Keldon Johnson also scored well, 24 points in 34 minutes. Now, in true Keldon Johnson style, he had a combined 0 assists, steals, and blocks. This is why he's always been a bad category league producer, because he just doesn't do anything apart from score, and usually that's not that efficient. Today it was. He was really good in that area. And Vassell started off a little slow, but ended up with 25, 2 and 8, 52 minutes. I love the fact that they are just pumping minutes into Vassell. I think he's averaging about 35 or 36 a night post-All-Star. He played 44 here. And Sohan, who'd been playing well, but I think we know we can't trust it. 4 points in 42 minutes, shot 13%. He had 3 blocks on 9 rebounds. Bubble Champagne had been getting mid-20s in minutes. He was scoreless in 16 here, so yeah, maybe we're not doing that. It wasn't that Malaka Branham was getting him. He had 7 in 16 minutes, and Chetty Osman returned. Maybe that's it. Osman returned, so Champagne didn't get the playing time. People still rostering Zach Collins. I think you can give that one up, but that was the case approximately 25 years ago. Don't have to hold him. All right, let's do the final game of the day. The Hawks go in to take on the full strength, well, basically full strength Clippers with no Russell Westbrook. The Hawks, of course, had nobody, and they win. Yeah, they do. Bogdanovic returned for Atlanta. He replaced Wes Matthews in the starting lineup. Well, Jim Harden returned, and he replaced Bones Highland in the starting lineup. Maybe they would have been better with Bones, although not to say he played well, because he didn't. Just a terrible game for the Clippers overall, and the Hawks win it 110-93. What do we make of this? We're going to watch Bogdanovic, number one, because with about, 8 minutes left in the game, he left to the locker room and never returned. No report actually on what's going on with it. Or what happened, but maybe some thought he reached a minutes limit, which again would be weird. He was only sick. I don't know why he would have a minutes limit, but that happened, so pay attention. Jalen Johnson, after his first game back, was a little bit of a dud. He was ridiculous. 18, 12, and 6, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 3 dribbles. Huge. Murray, 21, 2, and 10, 2 steals. Huge. Capella, really good. 15, 13 with 2 blocks. DeAndre Hunter, he hunted. Yeah, he hunted. 20 points, 24 minutes, 2 rebounds. No steals. Shot 62%. It's either something good or something dreadful with this bloke. Bruno Fernando got 6 and 7. Bogdanovic did not shoot well, 29%, but he had 11, 5, and 4. And we'll see what happens because they do play tomorrow. So I don't think there'll be any problem with Jalen. I don't think there'll be any problem with Bogdan, but we've got to watch it. As for the Clippers, well, thanks, guys. I'll talk in a second about why I'm saying thanks. Paul George had 26 and 6 with 4 steals. Great. Kawhi, 28 points. Fantastic, Kawhi. Love your scoring. 9 of 10 from the line. Unbelievable. DeAndre hunted it, though. He had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. He did have a steal and a block. Well, Jim Harden didn't score, I think, for the first 3 quarters. He ended up with 9 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and a block, and Terrence Mann had 2 steals as well. There was no Norm Powell for the Clippers, so maybe I wasn't giving him credit there. Zubats played 23 minutes. He'd been pushing these minutes up, but obviously not here, 6 and 6, and they went with more PJ Tucker at center, so I don't know if that's the thing they're doing now. 21 minutes for PJ, 3 points. That obviously kills any Daniel Tice, that kills the cockroach Mason Plumlee. It also might impact Zubats quite a bit as well. I'm not saying we've got to drop Zubats, but if 6 and 6 in 23 minutes is what he gives as we move forward, then there's no place for that on a 12-team roster. Not a lot else going on here. Bones Hyler went back to being absolutely useless.
Get that garbage out of here!
2 points, 11 minutes, 0 of 4 shooting. What do you have, like 10 turnovers or something? A lot of them, 5 turnovers in 11 minutes. Useless. No Norm Powell, didn't matter. He was terrible. You jack him. He was useful for one of those games that Harden was out. He was bad in the second one, and he was absolutely terrible here in this one. So that's it. That's your 7 games from Sunday. Let's have a look at the old lines of the night. The monstrous line of the night. Who do you think it was? Well, again, I'm going to give you a clue. Shouldn't be too hard to decipher. It's also the same bloke who's the young gun of the night. He's had a few of these, this man. He's going to have a few more as we go through the many years. It is the big fella, Victor Wembanyama. 33, 15, and 7 with 7 blocks. Remember that 15 rebounds. It's a very, very key number. Talk about that later as well. Am I salty? A little. What about the waiver wire line of the night? Who was the best player available in 50% or more percent of leagues? Who was it? Well, it couldn't be anyone else. Slammin' Sammy Hauser. 30 points, 10 dribbles. Could have been 40 points with 15 dribbles, honestly, by the time the night ended. Well, it couldn't have been. If he had 15 dribbles, it'd be at least 45 points. He was dominating, hurt his ankle. Tatum says he's fine, but players lie. So we'll see whether Sam is available tomorrow. And then our dud of the night, the worst performer. It was going to be James Harden, the worst performer who is heavily rostered. But in the end, we do go with Jaden Ivey, who had 10 points. He had 1 rebound, 2 assists. Just didn't do anything. Didn't play enough. Thanks, Tavares. Let's go through and have a look now at the top 6 players for the day. And then we'll do a recap of my leagues. Wasn't pretty. Who was the top 6 players in category leagues today? Obviously, number 1 was Victor Wembanyama, followed by Damian Lillard, Punch Bob, Bobby Portis, Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, and Duncan Robinson. Your top 6 players under 50% rostered. Hauser at number 1. Could have some real stream value. Also could be injured. Jordan Nwora, we've got to watch that real close. I think Peyton Pritchard's going to be a good stream tomorrow. Jay Crowder turned the clock back finally for once. Don't rely on that at all. Don't do anything. Luke Cornett might have some real value coming up here. And then Justin Champagny. That's the Wizard Champagny, who started today with them sitting everybody. Just keep an eye on him. That's 2 good ones in a row. And I think that there'll be some moments here where he has some value as we move forward. Not quite yet, though. For Yahoo Points Leagues, number 1 was Wembanyama, followed by Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Bobby Punch Bob Portis. So what are the takeaways that we've got here? Nothing that super stands out, but Jordan Nwora, I'm not saying to add him. I'm saying in deeper leagues to add him, but just keep an eye on him. Duncan Robinson, a very clear add. And Peyton Pritchard, probably an add at least for tomorrow, and there'll be 1 more game or 2 more games later this week. I think we can move on from grade A Dick. Maybe we stream back in later, not really providing enough. And then with the bad schedule, the bad performances, Brook Lopez is not a must-roster player. Don't have to move on, but he's absolutely up for being cut in the right scenario. And now, let's go through my leagues. And we will start with Industry Pickup, the league that ran for, this is week 20, isn't it? Playoffs started week 19, so for the first 18 weeks of that season, I was on top for 17 of those 18 weeks. I finished like 9 games clear of the 2 seed. I got a first round bye. Didn't do anything for me, did it? I'm not a big bye guy, as you're well aware. So we're at semifinals, Mitch Casey, and I lost. What an absolute kick in the dick that is. Mitch Casey gets me 6-3 in the end. Good for him. I lost by 3 blocks, 7 turnovers. What else was close? 13 assists. That's it. He got me big in this one. Good for him. What about the other matchups? Well, Drew Dinkmeyer was second all season. We were the top 2 teams by a significant margin. And he lost as well. Rhett Bauer comes from nowhere to get the 5-4 win. So it's going to be Rhett and Mitch, who I think were the 3 and 4 seeds. They come through to get the inaugural, that's the word, industry pickup title. Yeah, Rhett was 3 seed, Mitch was 4. I've got the standings up on the screen there. They were miles back. But good for them. That's all you need to do is win your playoff games, and they did it. Me and Drew just did not get it done in the playoffs when it counts. So, what about the other leagues? Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl. I was the 2 seed in this league all season. Won the first week's matchup. In the semi-final matchup, the Suicide Squad beats me 5-4. I lost by... What did I lose by? 4 rebounds. I had Kawhi going at the end. He got 2. And of course, on the other side, Wembanyama got 15. So Wemby goes over his season average. Kawhi underperforms his season average. And I'm done. I'm out. L for me. Didn't make the Battle Royale. But there is the points league where I was the 2 seed in that league as well. I won my first playoff round. Did I make it? We will find out. I actually haven't looked at this one. I think I did. Did I get through? The suspense. Come on. Oh my God, the suspense. Oh, just. Wow. 1374 versus 1347. Finally a dub. So I moved through to the final of the grand finale, the Battle Royale of the Points League. Last year I made the Battle Royale of the Category League, not the points. This year I do the points and not the category. I've got that league going for next week, and then the other one is my Roto League, which is still going. Where am I sitting in the Roto League at the moment? 6th in that Roto League, with quite a few games to catch up. I think I'll be able to finish at least top 3 in that. We'll see. Not sure. I think I'll be able to finish top 3. But yeah, wow. Really disappointing that industry pickup finish, but congratulations to Mitch. Congratulations to Rhett. Good luck in the final. Whichever one of you wins, you have absolutely deserved it. And that is the recap of the games. Now, it is going to take me time to set up the Battle Royales, as I said, for Locked On Fantasy Basketball, so be aware that is coming, and then I will send out an email once that is done, and just have a look in your fan tracks. It'll appear as a league when you're in there and you've made it. So congrats if you've made it. I haven't mentioned this, but I have in the past, but if you're in a category league, and you make it into the Battle Royale, your entry fee was $50. If you make the Battle Royale, you get $200. If you win the Battle Royale, if you finish with the best record out of all 120 teams, you win $12,000. If you finish second, not top 12, my bad. You win $7,200. If you finish second, you win $3,600 for your $50. And if you finish third, you win $1,200. In the points league, if you make the Battle Royale final, you get $200. If you finish first in the points league, you get $3,600. If you finish second, you get $1,800. And if you finish third, you get $600. That's on top of the $200 you already get. So, let the Battle Royale games begin. Looking forward to it. The points league one, not the category one, because I'm out. Damn it. Guys, hit the old thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and double bang. And I hope that you either qualified for your playoffs, made the grand final of your playoffs, made the semi-final of your playoffs, or you're at the top of your Roto League. That's what it's all about. Well, having fun is what it's all about, but winning is also a form of fun. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.